This is a KTSM 9 News special presentation, Rebuilding Ruidoso.
KTSM 9 News at 6, live on location from the village of Ruidoso for our 1-hour in-depth special, Rebuilding Ruidoso, as the village rises from the ashes of two devastating wildfires back in June, only to be followed just days later by catastrophic flooding. Thank you for joining us for this 1-hour special Rebuilding Ruidoso. I'm Andy Morgan.
And I'm Monica Cortez, and we're going to dedicate a whole hour to just show the resiliency of this incredible town and talk about how all the businesses are coming together to really help the town of Ruidoso.
No doubt about that. The recovery efforts here are ongoing. We talked to the mayor, of course, during our 5 o'clock half hour. The longevity of some of those longer rebuilding efforts, a little slow moving when it comes to federal funds and that sort of thing, but there is stuff that everyone can do back home, and it's really just as simple as visiting Ruidoso, especially with the upcoming weekend. You got Labor Day weekend, but we do kind of want to highlight how we got here. Of course, back in June, not one, but two devastating wildfires. You had the South Fork fire as well as the Salt fire combined to scorch 25,000 acres of land.
That's right. So June 17th, 9:07, that was the South Fork fire reported. June 17th, 2:20, that was the Salt fire reported. And then June 17th at 7 p.m., evacuation orders were issued for the village of Ruidoso.
We all remember that image of the evacuations taking place. You had June 18th, the state of emergency declared by Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham. June 24th, first Ruidoso residents allowed to return. And then the 28th, all Ruidoso residents able to return.
So by June 29th, that was the first major flash flood that happened. July 22nd, Ruidoso Downs racetrack moves remainder of 2024 races to Albuquerque. And I know we've done a little bit of extensive reporting on that as well.
Yeah, we're going to hear more from Ruidoso Downs coming up a little bit later during our sports segment. But one of the stories that you're going to see in terms of the recovery efforts, actually where we're live from right now, it's Downshift Brewery Company here in Ruidoso. They have played a major role in some of these recovery efforts, as well as dating all the way back to June when those wildfires sparked.
That's right. So the owners of Downshift Brewery Company tells us they're actually stayed behind during the wildfires to help feed first responders who were helping fight the fires. Check this out.
Breweries are a big pillar of communities in a lot of small towns, and so we saw this as an opportunity to be that for Ruidoso.
When the evacuation orders came through, I think it was pretty clear that Eddie and our business partner Jamie and some of our team members were going to need to stay to handle things like feeding first responders.
We've continued to support. They've called upon us to continue to supply food in a few instances to different organizations. We covered the PNM crew, the EOC. We covered them for a few weeks as well, just, making sure that everybody who's here is getting what they need to do their jobs the best they can. What we're focusing on right now is trying to do the things that make the most sense to get Ruidoso back on its feet. We're doing a brewing initiative called Collective Good, where we have invited breweries from around the region to brew this beer, Collective Good, and then donate the proceeds back to the community foundation. And then also the other part of that is raising awareness that Ruidoso is still here, still standing, and we're ready for visitors and tourists.
I think there's a lot of instances, where disaster hits and towns come together and people come together. This is just one of those stories, but I think the people here have really made getting through this possible. It's a testament to, I guess, a small town that, the people will come together, your neighbors and friends, and even, all the second homeowners here, all the part-timers, like those people have really stepped up as well. Even if they're not here full time, even if, they're tourists to this place, they have gone above and beyond to contribute as well.
And joining us now are the owners of Downshift Brewing Company. We have Eddie and Shelby Gutierrez. Thank you so much for allowing us to do this 1-hour special here from your business.
Thank you so much for coming. It's greatly appreciated to have this spotlight on Ruidoso as we rebuild.
Absolutely.
And thank you for everything you've done for the community. I know you guys did a lot, and you continue to do stuff for the community of Ruidoso. Tell us about some of the fundraisers that you're hosting.
Sure. So obviously whenever the fires first started, we stepped in and trying to provide food for those first responders that were coming. And then Then we fundraised to provide some funds for those who were affected directly by the floods and the fires. And now we're moving on to a new, what we're calling a brewing initiative. It's called Collective Good. And we're teaming up with breweries from the region. So a lot of people from New Mexico, and we actually have 3 breweries from El Paso who are going to be joining us in this. And the goal for that is for us to all brew beers and donate the proceeds back to those who are affected by the fires, as well as come together, come to Ruidoso, and have a celebration. So we're really looking forward to that.
Yeah, really cool initiative there. And I know something that you wanted to touch on as a message to the community, especially for a lot of viewers in El Paso that can help you guys. You guys are a local business that's being affected by this catastrophic wildfires and the flooding. This has affected you guys. So what is your message for the community and El Pasoans who, make Ruidoso a vacation spot?
Sure. So I would say come back. We're here, as you can see from y'all's time here today. It's a beautiful place to be. There are tons of events. September 28th, we are actually having our Collective Good celebration. It is called Ruidoso Oktoberfest. So that's September 28th. You can buy tickets now. There are so many events happening this fall. Like, now is the prime time to come if you didn't get to come this summer.
Oh, I love that. And Andy touched on it a little bit, and that is you guys got affected too. And so can you tell us a little bit about how that was for you and how you guys are doing now?
Absolutely. So, the biggest thing about Ruidoso is it is, primarily a tourist destination. So that means everybody who lives here is somehow affected by, positively or negatively, by the amount of tourism that comes here. So, we just got rocked with a fire and then the floods. With the tourism being down, that is another, kind of hit to the community and to the businesses as well. But, ultimately, as you guys have seen while you're here, Ruidoso's still standing. We're still standing strong. We're still doing it. We're trying to have, as much entertainment and good experiences as we could create for the people. So we're just hoping that people come on out and kind of help rise us back up.
Thank you guys so much.
Eddie Shopi, thank you very much. And we actually have Chief Meteorologist Robert Bettis, who has joined us here in the village of Ruidoso. He is actually out on the streets of Southerth, if you know the area. Hey there, Robert.
Hi there, Andy. Hi, Monica. Actually, I've moved into the neighborhood a little bit to the Ruidoso Lodge. Now, I think we're all familiar with the bad news. Of course, 25,000 acres burned, and then the devastating floods, which did almost as much damage as well. It was day after day of heavy rainfall. And as you can see with the Ruidoso Lodge, and we all know this place. A lot of people kind of grew up in these cabins and visited many times, and certainly this is sad. This is going to take a while to rebuild. Now let's get to some good news. According to one resident whose family owns some cabins, 95% of the hotel rooms and the lodging are still available and unharmed and waiting for you. All right, let's talk heat. I know that's everybody's favorite topic. 103 was our official high temperature in El Paso today. No, that was not a record. 104 was the record set back in 2007. I'm going to have your 9-day forecast. We'll talk about in the long-range data, if it holds together. And this one's for you, Andy. A cool front drops us down to 85. So potentially we could feel just like Ruidoso in El Paso. I'm going to have your detailed forecast and more coming up in just a little bit. Monica, Andy?
Robert, thank you so much. And now we want to take a closer look at the environmental impacts of the aftermath that happened through the wildfires that scorched thousands of acres.
Yeah, 25,000 acres, those two wildfires combined. And KTSM 9 News reporter Tirza Ortiz was up here just a couple of weeks ago taking a look at some of those effects. She joins us live now.
That's right, Andy and Monica. Our team was actually one of the first on the scene when the fires first broke out, and then a couple weeks later, those devastating floods. Now, we knew the community was going to be heavily impacted. However, after speaking with scientists and environmental experts, we also discovered everything else, including the landscape, was also going to be impacted. Take a look. The lives of people who call Ruidoso home forever change with the wildfires impacting the area. Their homes and structures and buildings, just like this one, impacted. However, the environmental factors that come after, forever changing the landscape as well.
If you're looking at restoration in terms of when are we going to start to see our forests recover, that can be a much longer timeline. Realistically, I think we're looking at years to even decades for some of it, rather than looking at weeks to months, unfortunately.
The recovery period for the Ruidoso area goes further than clearing debris and rubble. While some wildfires can contribute to ecological balance, the Salt and South Fork fires that together burned around 25,000 acres have done the opposite.
With 100 plus years of fire suppression, what happened was these forests got really dense and overstocked. And because of that, we're experiencing the wildfires that we experience today that have the really detrimental impact in combination with, of course, a drier and hotter climate.
The New Mexico Forestry Division has recorded the Salt Fire as burning at a normal moderate rate, with the South Fork Fire burning at a higher intensity through a larger proportion of area.
When a wildfire that's burning really hotly, very intensely, we'll see that the topsoil from the landscape will be burned off. There won't be any more organic matter that can create really of soil that can't absorb water.
When they hit the earth, they physically change the composition of the soil. So it goes from being something that rainfall absorbs into to something that rainfall hits and runs right off. It basically turns it into cement.
The monsoons following the wildfire definitely make the impacts to communities a lot more extreme. It slows down the ability of that landscape to start to really recover because it's just being hit with an impact after an impact after an impact.
It only takes a couple inches of water to wash away a human body. It takes less than a foot of water to start moving around equipment and getting into like cars and whatnot.
On top of dangerous floods, concerns remain around the natural regeneration of the forests along with increased solar radiation.
Climate change is very, very complicated, but with every degree of warming that we see, the more likely we are to see an increase in the occurrence of these more extreme weather events.
With monsoon season coming to an end, the fall and winter will bring more La Nina conditions, meaning a much needed drier period for recovery efforts.
A little bit drier and a little bit warmer. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see below average precipitation, but it does mean that we are more likely to see less snowpack and a little bit warmer temperatures.
Reporting in Ruidoso, Tirza Ortiz, KTSM 9 News. Now don't go anywhere. We have more on the rebuilding efforts coming up in our special coverage, Rebuilding Ruidoso.
Your local weather authority, Robert Bettis, the Borderlands' only certified broadcast meteorologist.
Well, it is very sad what happened here at the Ruidoso Lodge, but it will be rebuilt in time. They're going to get the materials, they're going to get the contractors in here, and they're going to rebuild it completely. And the good news is that less than 5% of the hotel rooms and accommodations were affected by the floods and the fires. And here's a reason that you want to come to Ruidoso. It was 103 in El Paso, and this was the one little thing left on the little cabin here that was still working. Says 83 degrees right now. It's like heaven. Joining me now is a man who moved all the way from Los Angeles, California 4 years ago, Bradshaw Lambert.
Hi, Robert.
Nice to see you, Bradshaw.
Nice to see you.
Okay, let's focus on some good news. First of all, I'll say it again. It was 88 in Ruidoso today, and a little rain fell on me.
Correct.
It's so beautiful here.
You can't beat it.
Okay, so what made you move from LA to Ruidoso?
Oh, well, basically COVID kind of had me stuck in LA, and my mom's husband had passed away out here at Dandy Cabins.
And she owns basically her own little lodge.
That's
here.
right. She's been here 20 years, and once he passed away, I thought maybe I could be of some use to her.
That's so sweet.
So it worked out.
Question, were you evacuated?
I was. We were evacuated for 12 days straight.
I noticed something about every single Ruidosan I've talked to who was evacuated. When they were away, they developed their plan.
That's
you
right.
had a positive plan.
That's right. Well, the first thing we were concerned about is the status of the cabins.
Yes.
But then, on my mind, we wanted to get our music concerts back online.
Yes.
We had to cancel 3 of them. And what ended up happening is the whole community sort of convened around these concerts.
Love it.
So,
okay, we're going to learn a lot more about that coming up. Let's talk heat. You don't get this forecast, but we do back home in El Paso. High temperature tomorrow, 102 degrees with a chance of thunderstorms. We're going to keep that chance of storms all the way through the weekend. But I've got some very good news as we move towards Sunday. High temperature 100, but then on Monday, that high pressure ridge breaks down completely, and we end up with cooler high temperatures. 96 Monday with the best chance of rain that day. 92 on Tuesday. Cloudy skies. We go back up a little bit into those mid-90s as we go into the middle of the week. And if the long-range data holds together, we are going to have a high temperature of 85 degrees as we go into Friday. Hopefully that long-range data will hold together. Okay, so Bradshaw,
yes.
This is your mom's place.
This is Mom's place, Dandy Cabins.
Dandy Cabins. Ah, very nice. How many cabins does she have over there?
There are 11 cabins there.
And they're unharmed.
Correct.
They're ready for business.
They are.
So people need to come and enjoy.
They really do.
So if you see moments of damage like this, and a lot of residential damage, unfortunately, still open for business.
Midtown is totally open. Wingfield Park is open. Apache Casino is open. Grindstone Lake is open. So it's really a great time to come here. Usually it's super busy.
Yes.
But you can take advantage of this.
I love it. Bradshaw, thank you so
Robert.
much. God bless.
It's great
we
meeting
appreciate
you.
it.
Appreciate
Stay
it.
with KTSM 9 News.
KTSM 9 Sports with Sam Guzman. Sponsored by Glushine Vyas and Enderman Injury Lawyers.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are Trevor Vitito days away from the start of UTEP football season. 10 days. Vitito, one of the best to ever play quarterback for the UTEP Miners. And speaking about quarterbacks, UTEP is still figuring out who is going to be its starter for this season. That's one of, if not the biggest question about this year's Miners team. At the beginning of the fall camp, Coach Walden had all 7 quarterbacks on the roster competing for the spot. Later in the camp, it came down to 2, and Coach Walden says it's still down to 2 as we are 10 days away from week 1. It's last year's 4th-string turn starter Caden McConnell and Austin P transfer Skylar Locklear battling it out. And the way these two guys have been performing well during fall camp is making it pretty difficult for Coach Walden to nail down a starting quarterback at this point of camp.
If I showed you our quarterback production chart, it looks like a hieroglyphic because there's so many different categories we're charting on these guys. I'm being real. I want to see how they do against if they're with the 1 offense against the 2 defense, and if they're against the 1 with the 1 offense, how they do against the 1 defense, and vice versa, right? So I want to chart all that stuff. We charge touchdown drives. So I think one of them has. Last I looked, it was yesterday. It was 21 touchdown drives. The other one's got like 20. I mean, it's literally his neck and neck. Both of them graded out 81% in the scrimmage. We're trying to grade it as hard as we can and try to find the deviation. The bottom line is this. I mean, if you want reality, we can win with both these guys. I really feel that strong, and we're blessed to have that because I think this day and age of college football, you got to have more than one quarterback. As good as pass rushers are. So, but we will name a guy. We will roll with that guy, and then we'll adapt from there.
Coach Walden went on to say he'll name a starting quarterback next week, obviously game week for the Miners. So Coach Walden is going to have to make a very tough decision very soon. Elsewhere in college football, New Mexico opens up its season this weekend, and you can expect to see a familiar face in action. Austin High School grad Jaden Wilson, he was listed as the Lobos' starting middle linebacker for its game against FCS program Montana State this Saturday. The Lobos released its 2 deep yesterday, and this is a huge news for Wilson as he is entering the sophomore season of his career at UNM. The UNM and Montana State game airs on Fox Sports 1, kickoff set for 2 p.m. on Saturday. In less than 24 hours, both the UTEP and New Mexico State women's soccer teams will be in action. Both teams at home tomorrow. New Mexico State will host Oregon at the NM State Soccer Complex. Back here in El Paso at Memorial Field, UTEP will play Texas A&M Commerce in its first home game of the 2024 season. Both games are scheduled for a 7 p.m. kickoff time. Now, switching gears back to our rebuilding Ruidoso coverage. Ruidoso Downs horse racing track has been heavily impacted by the South Fork and Salt fires and are working their way back to normalcy. This is the point where we send things back to Andy and Monica, who continue our rebuilding Ruidoso coverage.
Sam, thank you so much. And right now we are being joined with Tim Keatley with the Ruidoso Downs Casino. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Good to see you again. And you too, Andy.
Thank you very much. Of course, Ruidoso Downs is a huge driving force in the economy, not only here in Ruidoso, but in the entire state of New Mexico. And we've covered what's going on there at the Downs. Of course, had to move all of that racing over to Albuquerque. I guess just how hard was that decision to make, to have to turn that all over? It's a point of pride for you guys.
It's extremely difficult because this town relies on horse racing. That's what brings the folks from El Paso every summer. But the show must go on. As you know, horse racing is one of the top economic industries, the third largest in New Mexico. So those horsemen, owners, trainers, jockeys, they have to get a paycheck, and so those horse races still needed to continue, and we're grateful that we were able to do that in Albuquerque, and we're still going to run the richest quarter horse race in the world on Labor Day, and we invite everybody from El Paso to come to Ruidoso Downs and watch the race from Albuquerque.
I love that. So that's really cool. You know, I also found very cool is that a lot of people have been offering their land for the horses. What does that mean to you?
Well, this town has been so generous, and the racetrack has been very generous to the Community Foundation of Lincoln County, which dispersed a lot of funds to the fire and flood victims. The racetrack industry and everyone associated with it have donated $500,000 to that community because we're so invested in this town, and we've come to find out this summer that the town is invested in us, and everybody wants us to return, and we'll be back in 2025, no problem.
Tim, we got about 20 seconds. Have to touch on the All-American Fraternity. I know you touched on it briefly. Do we have a chance at a Triple Crown this year? I know during our Small Town Spotlight we talked about that. Do we have a chance?
Yes, we do. There's a racehorse by the name of He's Got the Look Z that won the Ruidoso, the Rainbow, and will try to win the Triple Crown on Labor Day. Only one horse in the 65-year history of the track has ever done it, and there is a chance this year at the Downs of Albuquerque.
There you go. We know which horse to be rooting for.
All right, Tim, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you.
Thank you for putting a spotlight on Ruidoso. We appreciate you very much.
Thanks, Tim. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back, everyone. We're right here live in Ruidoso for our special edition of Rebuilding Ruidoso. This is going to be an hour-long segment that we've been here at the, this Downshift Brewery, bringing you all the stories of hope and resilience.
Yeah, from the moment these two large wildfires sparked back in June, of course, local citizens, local residents stepped up to inform the community and their fellow residents on ways that even we couldn't, as a news station at KTSM 9 News, could not, informing residents on whether or not their houses were still standing. Yeah. And KTSM 9 News investigative director Andrew Litton has their story.
Serious. Know my love for my neighbors. I couldn't leave these poor animals in their houses.
With a bit of silly.
This is Ken. Ken's been out here shining light on people, trying to give them hope.
That's how tattoo artist Logan Flea describes the last few months of his life after being thrust into the position of a modern-day town crier, broadcasting updates to thousands of followers on his Instagram and Facebook platforms.
I had Starlink, so I was able to communicate with people in a way that they needed. It was a huge hit, and started getting requests for checking on animals, checking out properties, and now it's continued into positive platform to where we're giving back to the community.
Flea utilizing his Instagram account and connections with tattoo artists from around the world to raise $200,000 from his followers alone.
Sir, do you need assistance? Do you need assistance, sir?
Using humor in the form of a mannequin named Ken, along with silly characters, bringing joy and laughter during a dark time for first responders and residents who have lost everything they own. Calling his posts a, quote, positivity platform.
The third day, it turned into now we're feeding all the first responders cold waters, nice drinks and lunches, and we'd get them to them because I knew where they were at. And those guys were kind of left in the dust. You know, they'd wait for them to come back to their base camps, but never had the chance for someone just to come up and give them some humor and have a mannequin in the back and a high five and a good laugh. And life became a little bit not so stressful when I would show up. And by the end of the first week, they're like, "It's Ken!" And they were super excited about that.
Local chainsaw artist and tree trimmer Jesus Figueroa also stepped in to give a unique perspective of the fire and flood damage. Figueroa's use of a drone while he operated high above the ground from trees helped give a bird's eye view of the damages.
Since the trees are pretty high, people don't know what's happening. Once they see a video of where the fire is, they'll get an idea which direction to go.
Figueroa becoming the eyes on the ground and the sky during the catastrophic flooding that happened in the village. News outlets in El Paso and Albuquerque using his flood videos in their newscasts.
When there's a big rainstorm coming, get ready because there is water, 2 inches of rain on the burn area. It gathers up down the stream. It just takes everything. It doesn't respect nothing. It moves boulders. You'd be surprised the boulders that it moves. Water, it's pretty powerful.
Flea and Figueroa saying Ruidoso is a resilient community, and they know the village will be back to normal soon. Reporting in Ruidoso, Andrea Litton, KTSM 9 News.
And now we have the unique privilege of being here with Logan Flea. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you so much.
Logan's a little bit of a local celebrity here in Ruidoso, and definitely deservedly so. I guess my first question for you is, why? Why stay behind? Why do what you did, through these conditions, not only through the wildfires, but the flooding?
It just started off as us caring for our animals and turned into caring for our neighbors. So it was a wonderful thing I could do. Turning around and going back towards the house was probably the best decision because I got to feed hundreds of animals a day. It was really cool.
Yeah.
How beautiful. And, even today, to this day, you're still raising funds. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, so our team at Scorpion Tattoos were amazing. We love our community. We love our good neighbors. We love our heartfelt vibes. Everybody in our team, we actually did a tattoo event across the nation, 9 shops across the nation. We raised $60,000 in one day. And throughout our efforts, we continue to do raffles, continue to do drawings. We're at $200,000 and counting. And as of today, we switched our efforts to another nonprofit out of Las Cruces, which is super amazing. And we've already raised $10,000 for their nonprofit. So we're continuing with this good stuff and positive platform. That's what we're out here for.
I love that.
Such an amazing response that you have gotten from the community. In terms of this money that you're talking, where does that go? How does that kind of help rebuild Ruidoso?
They're local nonprofit organizations that we're working with. Now that we're working with the second one, we have 2 of them. One's of Lincoln County and one is of southwestern New Mexico. All of these great people are actually giving back 100% of this money to the locals who were affected or primary loss homeowners. So we're just grateful to be out here, and our team is going to continue to raise efforts. We have a few motorcycles to have drawings on, some guitars. We have some big ideas, and we're just going to continue to give back.
And my question to you is, hearing everything that you're doing, how has this changed your life?
I've always been this heartfelt. I grew up with a great family here in Ruidoso. I was born in Ruidoso. I love this community. I love you, Ruidoso. And I'm going to continue to give back and continue to give back to our schools, everything we can do. We're just trying to spread the good vibe out here. So,
Logan, what you've done has been nothing short of remarkable. Thank you so much for what you've done for the community and for joining us here on this special Rebuilding Ruidoso.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate you being here. And come up and join us in Ruidoso. We're having a good time. We got live music every night of the week. Lots of events. Don't be scared. The monsoons are gone right now, so we're welcoming you back to Ruidoso. Thank you so much.
All right. Logan Flay, thank you so much. And want to turn our focus now to the fire department, of course, who played a big role in fighting those wildfires. Sparked in June, and quite the work that they had to do with over 25,000 acres burned with those 2 wildfires combined.
Absolutely, and some of these firefighters made the ultimate sacrifice, losing their homes while working around the clock to save others. Ruidoso Fire Chief takes us through the moments the fire was discovered. Check it out.
Well, I'm upset. I felt a little helpless not being able to save my own house. But we were doing our job. We had to save everybody in the village. We had to save people's houses that we could. My house, the police chief's house was lost, and 3 of my firefighters lost their homes as well. And we were all out fighting the fire or trying to evacuate people. We went up to a lookout tower to see if we could see where the fire was, and we were able to locate it. up above the upper canyon of Ruidoso, and we could see the smoke, visibly coming up from a small area. I have 27 firefighters, so we called all of them in and got them set up to ready to start fighting the fire if it did come into the village. At this point in time, we knew that fire wasn't going to be stoppable, so our best bet was start evacuations. It's coming, get out, go now. Don't worry about anything else in the house. So we helped her load up our cat and some important papers and lock boxes, and we got her out of there. And within probably 15 to 20 minutes, I knew my house was gone. I think there was close to 400, maybe 500 people that lost their permanent residence. I don't know the exact number, but I know that's probably a good round number to estimate. There's some dangers out here still with the flooding and stuff. We just need to have people cognizant of that. We do need the people coming back to town to visit us. We do. We need that for our economy. Just be patient with everybody, and thank your firefighters, thank your public servants that are out there trying to help you. Don't criticize them. They're doing their jobs. They did the best they could with the situation we had, and just please be patient with us.
And our thanks to the firefighters who battled the blaze and first responders. I remember waking up, seems like every morning while this fire was going on, to see the containment, to see how many acres had burned, and the science behind fighting wildfires. What an amazing, what they were able to go through in order to battle those blazes. Nothing short of amazing.
And it's crazy because Mother Nature was not on their side. We had strong winds that first day. They really did put up a fight. And thank you so much to our first responders. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this quick break.
The Borderlands' only certified broadcast meteorologist.
I'm live in the upper canyon of Ruidoso right now, and behind me is one of the best reasons why you need to come out here and stay the night, because they've become very comfortable with human beings. And so the elk basically just park themselves right there on your porch, and you wake up and you see the deer, you see the elk. It's gorgeous. The high temperature today was 88 degrees. You know what else is great about Ruidoso? The music scene. So let's meet a very famous, locally famous musician, Phil Hamilton. It is so good to see you, Phil.
Good to see you. Good to meet you.
Okay, so you were evacuated.
Yes, sir.
And then the mine started going to work.
Yes.
And your concerts got disrupted.
Yes, we did. We lost a few of those, I think 3 total. But, we came back stronger and more focused than ever to bring the community together. And I think everybody was just excited to have something to rally behind. And that was a really important thing at the time. And the shows have just been better ever since.
Okay, so you have a pretty big concert tomorrow.
I do.
At 6 o'clock, so tell us about this.
So it's the finale of our Under a Mountain Sky here in Ruidoso, New Mexico, which is our summer concert series, acoustic in the park, a lot of these, in different towns and cities. This was our first year to do something like that, and had a great time. There's 14 of them, and tomorrow is the last one. And my wife and I, Erica Perry from El Paso, actually, and we're going to play, but our special guest is Zach Aaron, who's coming in to play as well. He's another touring artist, and it's just going to be a great night.
Tickets are $200, $300, $400?
Something like that. No, it's all free. And we always say, just bring the lawn chairs, bring a blanket.
And then go eat at the restaurants and buy a hoodie.
Yeah, shop in town, Midtown's open and great.
I love it. Okay, let me do the forecast, and I want to talk about this little stream that went crazy on you guys. All right. High temperature tomorrow, 102 degrees. We'll see a better chance of late day thunderstorms. That chance of thunderstorms follows us right into the weekend. Expect those temperatures to stay in the low triple digits, but then on Monday, the high pressure zone rather, collapses and the temperatures start to go down. 96, the high temperature on Monday, 92 on Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday, we go back up a little bit, but still in the 90s. And if the long-range data holds together, we could be at 85 degrees with a cool front on Friday. Of course, we want to remind you that 95% of the hotel rooms, cabins, all the places to stay are open for business. But behind me was kind of a near miss. Somebody was rescued out of that because of flooding. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so there was actually a jockey that was staying in there. I believe an Airbnb situation or whatever, and he was rescued. But this is actually just a little creek, and these are, directly related to the fires, to the up high where the ground is, had not taken. But this stuff never happens, and this was just a little, like I said, a little creek, and it turned into a complete monsoon of water. So
can't wait to see your concert, and thank God he got out
Right.
safe. So you stay with KTSM 9 News.
Welcome back to this 1-hour special of KTSM 9 News Rebuilding Ruidoso. So the wildfires as well as the flooding have affected all aspects of life here in the village of Ruidoso, which is back open for business. Yes. But a lot of these local businesses have taken a huge hit financially because of the lack of tourism that they typically see during this time of the year.
Absolutely. And our very own newest member of KTSM, Diana Castillo, she introduces us to one shop owner who, like many, are asking people to visit the area to help recover. Check it out.
Inside this holly jolly shop in Ruidoso's Midtown, Christmas is celebrated all year round.
32 years we've been in business, thanks to our customers because they're the ones that keep us here.
A lot of those customers come from El Paso and other surrounding areas. And just like Rocky Mountain Christmas, other businesses also rely on tourism to keep them going. But since the recent wildfires and the floods, visitors have kept their distance.
Like everyone in Midtown, we've definitely seen a major slow this summer, but we really appreciate the fact that people are concerned and want to know if we're ready and open, and we are.
A lot of our businesses, their business revenues are off 70, 80, 90%, so that is going to affect the village as well.
Ruidoso Mayor Lynn Crawford says they are doing what they can to attract tourists back to the village.
We've got Oktoberfest events planning, we've got concerts in the park, a lot of those things that we want to work to November, December.
Business owners we spoke to say they are staying optimistic and just want people to know their doors are open.
Those elves, they're working every day, and I tell you what, all the shops, they're open, and they're ready to serve you as tourists, and we welcome you back.
Gosh, that's going to be the first shop I go visit.
There you
I
go.
love Christmas. Santa Claus, what's not to love, especially in 88-degree heat.
No doubt about that. And for everyone who is actually wondering, it is absolutely perfect out here. 80 degrees and beautiful.
It's a little hot, I'm going to say.
Yeah, it actually is pretty warm. One thing I will say, in talking to Mayor Lynn Crawford, this next weekend is supposed to be big, as well as Labor Day weekend coming up. So if any of you are thinking about it, hey, maybe we can go up to Ruidoso, you won't regret it, that's for sure.
Absolutely. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Here's a last look at the forecast. The heat continues. Tomorrow, 102 degrees. We'll have a much better chance of late-day thunderstorms. We'll have a chance of late-day storms Friday and Saturday as well. Just a slight chance on Sunday. Our best shot at widely scattered thunder showers comes Monday as the high drops down to 96, then 92 on Tuesday. Back to the mid-90s for a couple of days, and if the long-range data holds together, we're going to have a cool front next Friday. High temperature only 85 degrees. I can say that I'm so glad that we did Rebuilding Ruidoso. It has been an absolute pleasure to come up here and follow up with this town we love so much. And the thing I love the most about this town, every single person that I've talked to is so enduringly positive. They love their town, they want people to come back, and hopefully this show will serve as a wake-up call to everybody. They're open for business. Come on back to Ruidoso. Andy, Monica?
Robert, thank you so much. And I also want to give a big thanks to Andrew Litton and Tirza Ortiz. Without them, they were the ones that put together most of these incredible stories that you just heard today for an hour.
And of course, a big thanks to Downshift Brewing Company for hosting us. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but they are definitely open for business, as is the entire village of Ruidoso. So we hope that you'll come visit soon. That's going to do it for our 1-hour special of Rebuilding Ruidoso. Be sure to join us for KTSM 9 News at 10.